All right, welcome to Life and Whiskey again. I am Jordan, and today I'm going to review for you the Four Roses Yellow Label Bourbon Whiskey. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and it is distilled by the Four Roses Distillery in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. And the distillery was actually started in Georgia post-Civil War by Paul Jones, and it moved to Kentucky and bought the Frankfurt Distilling Company, and used that license for selling um, medicinal alcohol during Prohibition, and the Four Roses brand was actually its leading brand at the time. And then after that, it was bought by Seagram's back in 1943, where they stopped producing the straight bourbon category of whiskeys, and they started to do blends and move forward with blended whiskeys. And then in 2002, the Four Roses distillery was bought by Diego and then sold to Kirin, I think that's how you pronounce it, who brought back the straight bourbon style whiskey. And so, it's only been since 2002 really that this particular whiskey has been produced in its current form. The Four Roses Distillery uses a combination of high corn and a high rye recipe, as well as 5 different strains of yeast, and together in combination that will create 10 different recipes. And then those 10 different recipes are separated out into the different brands that they have. Now, the Four Roses Yellow Label, this straight bourbon here, it actually uses all 10 recipes. It's 80 proof, and it's a no age statement whiskey. So you don't really know how old the barrels are that went into these bottles. Let's see, what else do we need to know about this? Yeah, that's probably a decent enough background to get you started on it. Let me pour a little bit here. Now I use the Glencairn style glass, this tulip style glass. It's really good for nosing, and I find that it really does change your flavor of your alcohol. I've used like a snifter and like a rocks glass or some of those other different styles of glasses. And the more open it is, it really changes the flavor and the smell of the whiskey. You'd be surprised. It's a great experiment. Try it sometime. Pour yourself a glass of whatever it is you really like. Try pouring it into a Glencairn and try pouring it just into a regular glass. Let them sit for a minute or two and then smell each one of them. And you'll notice that the smells are drastically different from one to the other. So that smell, as we all know, is going to impart different changes into the flavor, as taste is, I think it's something like 80% smell, or largely directed by smell anyways. So that's a fun little experiment you can try. So here we go. I start by nosing. I kind of waft it underneath my nose, kind of swirl it around, let it warm up a little bit, and just kind of get that alcohol and the different smells moving. I kind of get it underneath my nose and see where it's at and kind of find where, the distance at where I find the most smell. And sometimes you got to get way into the glass. Sometimes you got to let it sit out here and open up a little bit. But um, right up front, you get a very, very heavy corn dust smell out of it. That's underlain by some sweetness. You get some caramel, just a slight vanilla smell. It's actually really, really nice and pleasant to sit and smell this whiskey. It smells delicious, if that makes any sense. You get some light fruit notes, just barely hinting at maybe like an apple or a pear kind of a smell. And a hint of the oak is also another thing that you'll find in there. But nothing's really dominating other than that sweet and that corn. So, judging by the nose, that's kind of the flavor profile I would expect. Now, as you journey through whiskey, and go on your adventure, you'll find that there are some whiskeys that smell, column A, but taste column C, like very, very different between the nose and the palate. And sometimes, or hopefully, if it's something you like in the nose, that will be what you'll find also in the palate and on the taste. So we'll see if this whiskey follows that. You get the longer I let it sit, the more I get a little of those high-end ethanol notes in there. But yeah, it's just got a really nice, pleasant nose. Good direction to start. So now we'll go to the taste. And right away, I get a sweet and a sweet note, sweet corn. It tastes like that corn dust that I was describing in the smell. It's a very smooth whiskey. Goes on the tongue. The bite and the burn doesn't really show up until the end. Just a hint of apple in there and some vanilla. That caramel that was showing up on the nose doesn't show up as much on the palate. It's there, but I'd say vanilla is the stronger of the two. Then the caramel shows up. I'd say the finish doesn't linger very long. It has a smooth, kind of a velvety, oily feel to it on the tongue. You get a little bit of that barrel spice at the end that shows up. It's not overwhelming in flavor. The flavors seem to be well blended, well mixed. The complexity, I'd say it has a good 3 notes to it on the complexity. It's kind of right down the middle for a bourbon. There's nothing super unique about it, but there's nothing that's bad either, which is nice. I'd call it a good introductory bourbon. If you're looking for something to pick up that's not going to be offensive or really difficult, or you're going to have to struggle with it all, yeah, Four Roses is going to be something that you are going to want to go check out. It has maybe like a middle of the road palate, so it's not over the top sweetness and it's not over the top barrel spice, but both of those things are in there. Yeah, I think you would really enjoy it. It has some of the spikiness. Some of that spice is coming from that rye mash bill in there, or a high rye mash bill, and so it's definitely noticeable. So I encourage you to get out there, check it out, and see what you think. If you haven't already, Four Roses is one of those nice classic bourbons that should be readily available to most people. You'll see that it'll be somewhere, I think this bottle I got for like $25. So under $30 for sure. It's a great bourbon for that price point, and I encourage you to get out there and try it yourself. And yeah, until then, enjoy your day, and thanks for watching. And hopefully, the next video will be out soon, and you'll be able to enjoy that one as well. Thanks again. Bye.